There's one other matter I'd like to ask you very briefly about, and that's the mediation. That mediation seemed to be rushed through. We're not told how much damages were paid to Miss Higgins. The rumour seems to be about $3 million. This is because of the Commonwealth not exercising their duty of care, is it not?
Look, there needs to be a bit more scrutiny into that for this reason. There's been no findings of wrongdoing against anybody from the Commonwealth, from the previous government I'm talking about. There had been accusations made about a couple of ministers. During the Sofronoff inquiry, Mr Drumgold withdrew his former accusation that there was some form of conspiracy involving the police and the former government. There was no evidence of that, and he subsequently withdrew it. The mediation, however, took place in December at a time when the criminal trial had been abandoned. There was no finding against any minister. Yet the two ministers who knew most about Miss Higgins's treatment by the government, Michaelia Cash and Linda Reynolds, were effectively subjected to financial coercion to ensure they could not give their side of things at the mediation. Government representatives told both those women that if they insisted on having their say at the mediation session, that the government would withdraw its undertaking to pay their legal costs. And as a result, they felt obliged to withdraw and allow the mediation to go ahead without their involvement. Now, that raises questions about why, on what possible basis the government decided to make a payout of taxpayers' money to Miss Higgins. Now, there are rules governing these things, and they're set down in the legal services directions for the Commonwealth. And if there's no finding of wrongdoing, there are two options. Before the government can make a payout, it would need to either obtain a lawyer's opinion saying that there was a reasonable prospect of an adverse finding in a court about the way the government had conducted itself or government officers had conducted themselves. And if that's not available, if no lawyer would put their name to such a statement, the only other option is for the Attorney-General at the time, and this was Mark Dreyfus, who was the Attorney-General, to provide a written certificate saying that special circumstances apply and therefore a payment should be made despite the fact that there's been no finding of wrongdoing against anybody, and despite the fact that there might not have been a lawyer's opinion saying that the Commonwealth was potentially liable and could be found liable in court. Now, we don't know what basis there was for that payout, and I've been arguing that this is exactly the sort of thing that needs to be brought to the attention of the new National Anti-Corruption Commission. Now, I'm not implying in any way that there was any corruption, but somebody needs to be looking over the shoulder of the government officials who conducted that mediation to ensure that the rules were complied with. If the rules, if it got down to the fact that the payout was made on the basis that the Attorney-General said it should be made, I think the community needs to know that, particularly given that there's been no finding of wrongdoing by any minister in the previous government. And Mr Drumgold's accusations of a conspiracy involving people from the previous government have been withdrawn. I think that's the great unanswered issue that still needs to be addressed. So I'm dying to see what the new Anti-Corruption Commission does with this.